How is it you don't stop?
Because I don't want to lose. And I'll just say I can do it. It's going to hurt, but I'm going to keep going. We're in a situation, we're pinned down, I'm getting shot at, the rest of the boys are in the ditch as well. So what do? I start making a cup of tea. And they're all looking at me, thinking, fucking hell, he's calm about this. Yes. He must have a good plan. It wasn't an easy plan. I goes, right, this is what we're going to do. Whatever the situation is, however bad it is, you know what, there's always an option.
Have you got the right amount of each day spent not thinking that there may be a firefight incoming? You spend quite a lot of your time over each 24 hours ready for threat.
Life surpasses in time, and you don't know how much time you got left. So work hard, accept it's going to be hard, and do it. Stop talking about it. Do it.
Just a quick one. If you're enjoying The Energy Equation, please do like and follow wherever you get your podcasts. And if you leave us a review, we'll love you forever. Thanks so much. Billy Billingham, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, mate.
This is The Energy Equation, optimised by Pure Sport.
Yeah.
And it's a slightly different podcast to things I've seen you on or listened to you on before.
It's definitely different for me.
We've got an exciting period ahead of us, a chance to dive into you as a man.
Yeah.
Not just you as the legend that I know from my TV. So for those who don't know you, I certainly came across you on the incredible program, SAS, Who Dares Wins.
Yeah.
Then digging below the surface, you know, obviously from that, I know you've had an extensive career in the SAS. Mm-hmm. How many years in total was it?
I say my whole military career was 27 full-on years, which I'll call active years.
Incredible.
But I actually did 5 years beyond that, which was it's like the reserves. I don't count that because I wasn't really doing a lot.
I count
so actually, I did 9 years parachute regiment and the rest in the SAS. So
that's a phenomenal period of time. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then beyond that even, we had this incredible period of time, Bodyguard to the Stars. You're responsible for some of my favourites.
I had to have a job.
Brad and Ange.
Yeah. Initially, I mean, I stepped out in that world just before I left. I was moonlighting. The first person I took care of was Tom Cruise, believe it or not.
Amazing.
But actually, one of the things I don't talk a lot about, I did a bit of moonlighting years before that, earn a bit of money on the weekends because the money in the army is terrible. Yeah. And I bodyguarded Hulk Hogan.
Oh my goodness.
Mate, which was hilarious. You know, as you can imagine, he's like 6'6" or something, and he was looking at me going, this guy's either mad or hard as nails, and he weren't going to challenge it, you know?
Incredible. How was he?
He was great. I mean, you know, he could have just squashed me with his hand if he wanted to, but you're there to do, it's not about rolling around the floor with people, it's about, you know, giving them the ability to live their life, and that's what people don't understand about bodyguarding.
Extremely interesting. And we might touch on how that affects your energy in a minute.
Yeah, sure.
And now we got this TV career, which is extensive and, again, phenomenal success for the programme.
Yeah, I mean, the SAS Who Dares Wins has just gone from strength to strength. You know, we change it up every time we do it. I always say every time we do it, it's better. And it is, because we follow the ethos of the SAS, which is, you know, we don't pat each other on the back and say, that was great, we'll do that again. We go, right, what could we do better? How could we be smarter about it? And that's what we do. And each time you see it go out, I believe it gets better, and it looks by the viewing it is getting better. We also got the similar different title but same show really in America, which is going really well.
Yep.
Third series, and that's flying. And then with the BBC I got the police programme, which is my own programme, which is I've really enjoyed.
So exciting.
It's been great. So yeah, I'm on that path, but you know, it could end tomorrow, so
enjoy it. And actually, I don't think it will end tomorrow.
I hope not, but who knows?
What we've got to make sure is that you're here to enjoy it all, which is part of what we're going to talk about today. So we've got this, again, theme of energy today.
Yeah.
In the fact that, realistically, I'm looking at everything you do, and these are highly demanding roles where available energy will have been absolutely critical.
Yeah.
So we've got the fact that we managed to convince you to wear this fancy monitor for 3 days.
That's right, yeah.
You enjoyed that?
Well, it stopped me having a shower, but I use that as an excuse. I don't have a shower anyway. It was all right. You just forget about it. You just stick it on and forget about it, don't you?
Perfect. And that's been sort of watching the physiology of you and saying, okay, this extraordinary life that many people can't rationalise is trying to look at the mechanics behind that and understand how you do it. Mm-hmm. So the 3 days we're going to get to in a bit and look at some really interesting physiology around how your body manages stress. We'll discuss what stress means. Mm-hmm. We'll look at the physiology of your fitness level, which is a huge part of what you've achieved. And we might even touch on things like SAS selection, which is arguably the greatest fitness test in the world. Yeah. And then we'll also look at sleep and the quality of sleep recovery. Before I get to that score, I'm always interested in your take on your energy.
Mate, I don't know, in terms of a score where it is, I just think I've always got energy. I've always got a lot of energy because it's all in my mind. And the times when I feel I haven't got energy, I'll say to myself, I'm going to do it. I'll get up and push myself through barriers. And what pushes me to keep my energy and keep me doing things is life surpasses in time and you don't know how much time you got left. So, if I get up and go for a run in the morning, do I want to do it? Most of the time I don't, but I'll do it. And the reason I'll do it is because I say to myself, there'll come a time I won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And when that time comes, I'm going to be looking back on, I wish. Well, I don't wish, I do it. So my energy is always at a good level. Even when when I'm feeling less wanting to do something and motivated, the energy is there and I'll find it and kick it in. Now and it's all mindset.
That bit I want to dive into because that mindset bit is clearly your pathway to success. If anyone's read your book, like I have, or listened to you on podcasts, mindset is going to be incredibly strong. But mindset also does rely on physiology. Yeah. I'm going to come to a number because I'm going to reference this number throughout the podcast. So holding you to the last 6 weeks, mental, physical, again, emotional energy out of 100. 100 is everything you could ever wish for. 0 is total fatigue. Where have you been?
Over the last month, or the latter part of the month, as I said to you, I've had a little bit of a illness, if you like. So I haven't been a full-on game, but if you did it over a year, I would say my energy level, emotional, physical, probably around about in the 90s.
Beautiful.
I would say.
Okay.
Normally.
Billy, that could be an energy equation record.
Well, I'm not trying to say I'm super fit.
No,
I mean, I'm not, but the thing is, what you're judging me against. I mean, I get asked, what's your time on this? Well, I challenge myself now. I'm done with kicking young kids' asses and people who think they're fit, because I've done it. I can do it. Yes. I don't want to do it. Yeah. I enjoy what I do now, and I challenge myself. And anybody I train with, I'm actually put a lot of time, particularly out in the States. I train people who keep telling me they can't do it. I go, right, come with me, and I get them fit, and I love doing it. And I just say, you ain't challenging me. Yeah. You're challenging yourself. I'm going to set the benchmark and the exercises. Whether you reach it, that's up to you. And if you ain't doing it, if you think you're bullshitting it, that you're only cheating yourself.
Incredible.
So that's my sort of go-to, my benchmark now is me.
Yes.
I'm in that age now. I don't need to be, I think the last real big challenge I did was a charity thing, 24 hours of whatever somebody threw in a challenge. And I think it was like fucking 24 hours, 18 of them were burpees. I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Which I did it. I got on and did it because I can. And at the end of it, I can walk for about a week. And I'm like, I ain't doing that again. And if I'm honest, I think that was the turning point of I ain't challenging anybody now. I don't want to run any more marathons. Yes. I don't want to. Yeah. I'll go out and I might do it, but I'm not challenging anyone other than myself.
Beautiful. And you versus you. But that I love that. And that you versus you is a really relevant message. Yeah. So let's call it 90.
Yeah.
I'm rounding down.
Okay.
But only because it's such an exceptional result. But that principle of getting it done, finding the energy when wherever it may be, is utterly relevant to what we're going to discuss.
Yeah.
Now the results of the monitor you wore are reflecting over the 3 days you sort of wore it, 3.5 days. Yeah. And let's bear in mind you were a little unwell in that period, so that casts.
It wasn't the best time for me, but I thought because of timelines we've got to get this done.
Yes.
So, but that's where I was in that period of time. That's how I get through. So it is relevant.
Perfect. So we got, again, I think we got a fair representation of results, and that's looking at measuring your fitness, and that's really talking about your aerobic or cardiovascular fitness. It's looking at your sleep and sleep quality, and it's looking at over each 24 hours how often your body was ready for stress and how often it was ready to relax.
Right.
Now on that we have a slightly different score to 90.
Yep.
So I'm going to put that on the screen there.
50.
Okay. That's the first 50 you've ever got in your life, probably.
It is.
Now, there's a real relevance to that, and I want to break these three down. And bear in mind, none of these change anything that you've already told us, which is you have all the energy that you need to lead an extraordinary life. If anyone's listening to this, not watching it, you're 59 years old.
Yep.
You do not look 59.
I'm closest to 60 than 59.
Okay, we're edging into a new decade. Yeah. And and the reality is your physiology across a number of areas, it looks remarkably younger than your age. So you're doing incredible things regardless of age.
Yeah.
But, you've got energy 90 out of 100. Why is this recording 50? That's what I want to dive into.
Yeah.
I think that the sort of most middle ground we could talk about is probably the area of fitness, because you basically extract fitness from individuals on a near daily basis. So if I take your 3 individual scores, your fitness score only recorded at 51 out of 100. So the fitness score is based on 2 things. One is how active you were over the days you wore this. And the reality is you've had a bit of a bug and a cold. So you didn't move as much as you normally would.
No, and that's not just the not being well either. I'm moving house. So it's took up all my time on my own moving stuff, and I just decided to move to the top of a hill.
Okay.
So it wasn't the easiest place to
get. Is that a deliberate intention? You force yourself to get exercise?
Get away from everybody.
That's a hell of a technique.
It's actually true, it is, because it's out near the river, out in the wilderness, fresh air, woods behind me. I've got hills, I've got everything I need, and it's my playground.
Stunning. And that, again, from an energy point of view, we might squeeze that in. So you weren't that active.
No.
The other bit was something that isn't that influenced by being a bit unwell, which is a measurement of your cardiovascular fitness called VO2 max. Now, did you ever, again, in the time in the SAS, run the bleep test?
Yeah, quite regularly.
Quite regularly. And I imagine
in fact, not so much in the SAS, but the latter parts of the parachute regiment, we did the early form of bleep tests.
Gotcha.
I don't know how much that's changed now, but I mean...
It's probably still used. And that test, for those who don't know it, you run between 2 fixed distances, the beeps get quicker and quicker, and you run to exhaustion. And I imagine at that you did pretty well. Now, this measures the objective marker of cardiovascular fitness called VO2 max.
Right.
And I would like a result, for a male of your age, we'd like a result over something like 34, 35.
Right.
That's not a percentage, that's how many millilitres of oxygen per kilogram per minute. And your result, as you'll see on the screen there, was 40.
Right.
What does that mean? Well, that puts you into the 90th percentile for a male of your age. Now, that's going to be slightly compromised. I would say it's a couple of points higher based on the fact that you did this with a little bit of a bug or a cold. But I think that's a result that raises a really interesting question, which is, how's your fitness compared to a few years ago? But also, how is it you're able to perform such extraordinary tasks? Because, I watch you on the SAS, Who Dares Wins, and you are able to complete all of the physical tasks. And I suppose if I raise this result, my result is a smidgen higher than that, and I'm younger than you, not a bit younger than you, but I have no doubt you would outperform me in every physical task that we were to complete
that's
together.
That's psychological, though.
So that's interesting. So where does that, if we were doing some physical task and you were getting tired, how is it you don't stop?
Because I don't want to lose.
Interesting.
And I'll just say I can do it. It's going to hurt, but I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I will go to the point of exhaustion where my body will give up, and I'll drag that broken carcass till my mind gives up.
And is that still
and
is
that
that the
doesn't
same
give
now?
up early?
Same now as
absolutely,
it's always been?
100%.
Yeah.
I run my knees. I've had crepitus in my knees since I was 40, and I remember when I had the X-rays and tests done while I was out in the jungle school, Brunei.
Yeah.
The doctor called me and he goes, "You know what? If I didn't see you sat in front of me, this is when I was 40.
Yeah.
He said I would have said those knees are an 80-year-old man's.
Amazing.
From all the jumping and carrying, and he said, when does it hurt? And I went, well, when I'm sat still. He goes, don't sit still. I went, fair enough.
Lesson learned.
And still now, they're better now because I've had a little bit of stem cell treatment on my knees.
Clever.
Which you can talk about if you want. But and it worked. And again, I don't know if that's psychological because I just think something's been done, I can do it. But honestly, everything for me is it's in the mind.
I agree. And that result basically shows that. So your fitness is very, very good.
Yeah.
Right? But you would be able to achieve tasks that are greater than that result would do. So I would,
Absolutely.
if I looked at the things you do, I would expect that result to maybe 45, a little bit higher. And that tells me again that you get the tasks done through this inner grit. When you're in that endurance event and the pain comes, what is the internal narrative? What do you say to yourself? It was one of the old Tour de France cyclists used to say, "Shut up, legs."
No.
Is there
it's the devil and angel inside your head. And the big thing is time. Everything's about time. Passage in time. You know what? I know I'm going to do 10Ks. And I get to the 10K point and I go, I'll go another more. I'll go another K. And my wife hates it because I know she knows it's going to come.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. And I'll go do it. And it's hurting. I'm just thinking, okay, if I move my legs a bit faster, I'm going to get there quicker. So it's going to be over quicker. Again, it's about time.
Wow.
So I just keep saying, the quicker I move, the quicker I do it, the quicker it's done. I try not to do that anymore because I think I'm wishing my life away doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why when I train, I never have music, no water, I don't take anything.
Yeah.
Unless it's endurance. If I'm doing endurance when I'm going to be out doing 20, 30 kilometres over the mountains. Then I'll take stuff and not music, but I'll take food, I'll take water, just in case you get caught out.
Yes.
But any training session throughout the day where I know I'm going to be finishing in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, no music, because then I'm thinking about it. And when you're thinking about it, I believe, and scientists might tell me different, I think you work harder.
Your great-grandparents got something from drinking water that you probably don't. Over the last century, we've made water safer to drink, on the whole, but something has been lost in the process. Natural water sources once provided essential minerals that our bodies evolved with over thousands of years. Today's water, even premium bottled at source water, contains 78% fewer minerals than it did just a century ago. In fact, you'd have to drink 1.5 bathtubs to replenish the minerals that you lose in a litre of sweat. So if you think your water is hydrating you optimally, think again. Pure Sport, a company that I personally trust and use, solves this problem for high performers through their Ultra Electrolytes, a science-backed ratio of electrolytes in one single sachet. Optimize your hydration and leave the bath for bathing. Use our exclusive discount code EE10 at www.puresport.co for 10% off.
If you're listening to music and I go for a 10-mile run, by the time I've got to the end of a certain track, I go, oh, I finished. And I haven't thought about it, and I don't think I get the benefit out of it. Maybe I do, but I don't feel it.
That's so interesting, because a lot of the science will show people distract the pain using noise. So
feel the pain.
Well,
and you know you're working.
I love that.
Your mind knows you're working, your body knows you're working, and then you're saying to yourself, is this worth it?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's excruciating pain, of course you've got to stop and deal with it.
Yes.
But what is pain? Is it pain or is it discomfort?
Yeah. And when did you build the skills to bear that pain? You know, was there a definitive moment?
You know what? I think from a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I had a tough upbringing, and we lived in I came from a very poor family. We walked to school. Every kids got the bus. We walked in the snow with holes in our shoes. You just got on with being hardships. Yeah. And I think it started back then. Because at the end of the day, you've still got to do it. I've got to walk to school. I can't go back home to my dad. He'll clout me and throw me to school. Yeah. So, you know, walk in the rain with your feet cold and wet and hurting. So what? You still got to do it. Just get going. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It'll pass.
It will pass.
And so it started there. And, you know, which really helped me when I got into the parachute regiment as a young soldier. Yeah. Being cold and wet in the middle of a field, putting a house on my back and walking and running. So what? It hurts, but I can do it. It's not a big deal. It's not going to kill me.
And I feel that. I think people who've had the ability to endure hardship have built that grit. How does because lots of people can't tolerate that discomfort of exercise. Yeah. How does someone in their 40s now who hasn't had that challenging upbringing, hasn't built those skills, how do they come to tolerate that pain?
You've just got to, you've got to acknowledge it's going to hurt, firstly. Yeah. Whatever you're going to do ain't going to be easy. If it's easy, it ain't worth doing. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. Just accept, you know, I want to, instead of taking the car to work every day, I'm going to run or walk or cycle. Yeah. Ain't going to be comfortable, ain't going to be smooth for a while. Then you get into a routine, you get better. And like anything, the more you do, the better it gets. So firstly, acknowledge it. It's going to hurt. Yeah. It's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, people go, oh, I need, get a six-pack. Yeah. I'll go and do sit-ups for 2 days. Oh, there's no change. Of course there's no freaking change because you ain't getting time. Yes. So acknowledge it's going to hurt. Yes. Expect it to be however long it is, but the quicker, the more you do of it, the quicker you'll get the results of whatever that may be, and getting over that pain and getting over. So you've got to want to do it.
Love it.
And you've got to get away from comfort. It's a cliche, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It is, but it's true. It's never easy, because if it's easy, we'll all do it. Yeah. You know, everybody's waiting for, and they're all waiting for that one piece of advice from somebody like me. Go, how can I get to it? I'll tell you how you can. Work hard, accept it's going to be hard, and do it. Stop talking about it. Do it. Being given things, great. It wears off pretty quick. Achieving things and earning it is a great feeling. I've done that. I hurt going up that mud track. I hurt being at the back of that run and then getting to the front. Yeah. But you know what? I did it. And it's good. It's a good feeling. And up there and internally.
On the flip of that, because you're so used to being in the pain, you're so used to the hardship, are you able to do any exercise at a pleasurable level? Or is discomfort the only barometer of success?
I do yoga. Hey. I never, ever thought I'd do yoga. Yeah. I do it because I have to, because the stretching.
Spot on.
But you know what, mate? I enjoy it. It takes me back to, it's a funny story, actually. I'll keep it short because it can be long. in the early days of being in the parachute regiment, fit as a fiddle, blah, 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 we always looked for courses to do. And a bunch of us went, there's a gymnastic course. I thought it said basic gymnastic course down at the PT school. We'll do it. So we went and did it. We rock up, and the three of us look like Billy Casper in our shorts and our 10-pound shoes, and he bought these Adonises.
Yeah.
And he happened to be the army gymnastic team, almost an Olympic team. And we're looking at them, looking at us, going, this is a basic course. And they looked at us, going, guys, we don't know you. Who are you? I went, well, we're from the Royal Parachute Regiment. We're on this basic course. I went, mate, this ain't a basic course. This is an instructor's advanced course. And we were like, holy shit, what are we going to do? And they went, you know what? Why don't you stay and be our guinea pigs? We'll teach you. And we went, fantastic. But I'll tell you something now, and it's probably one of the toughest things I ever did. The warm-up they did.
Yes.
The stretching. Oh, my God. By the time I finished that, I felt like I'd done 2 days of fitness. But it was brilliant. Again, the pain, the barriers for 4 days. And then you kind of got a bit better and a bit better and better. And it was amazing. And it just kept you subtle, kept you, get you to be able to breathe better.
Yes.
Because it's all about your breathing. Your breathing was better, your fitness felt better, and I started to really enjoy it. And that's what I did enjoy. And then over the last couple of years, I went back to yoga. Yeah. Because the aches and pains, my back's smashed from parachuting, my knees, whatever. It's not the end of the road. What can I do about it? Stretching, yoga, and it makes a massive difference. And I enjoy that. So I actually do. Me and the missus do like a 20, 30 minute online. If she's in the States, we'll go flip it on the laptop and just do it. And it's just stretching.
Love it.
And it just gives me that energy and that feel-good factor. And I enjoy it. So that's what I enjoy. Yes. But I actually enjoy my runs as well, because I don't see running as my fitness, really, my main fitness. It's a foundation to my day. Yeah. It gives me the chance to think about what I'm going to do today, the clarity. It's like going into the office and opening up your laptop. My laptop is the natural outside world. Yeah. As I'm running, I think, right, I need to call so-and-so today. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. I'm thinking about it as I'm running. That's why no music, no distractions.
Love that.
And that's how it is. But I do enjoy. I don't go out just to push myself through pain. I just can tolerate a lot of pain.
What you're giving us there is a clear insight of that different types of training. You've got the strength work, which is keeping the physique in play. You've got the aerobic, which is keeping this result exactly where it should be. And that flexibility is the bedrock to all of it. And I'm conscious that it's such a strong area that I want to move you onto one of your less strong areas, which is one that you report. So that fitness routine is great and is a great depiction of grit. But some of these things might get in the way of another area of health, which is sleep.
Oh, mine's terrible.
Well, this was one on the questionnaire that we sort of got to fill in that you'd noted was your, potentially least competent area. Has it always been a challenging relationship with sleep?
I think I kind of like to say, again, from being young, just being my mind so active, a lot going on all the time. But I actually think, probably from when I joined the military, in the military, you're out on exercises and every 2 hours you wake up, you're on security. And you just get into that routine and used to it. And I'll go to bed and I'll lie there. And it's not because I'm overthinking things. I don't think it is. I just don't feel like I want to sleep. And then I'll sleep for two hours, wake up, maybe go to the bathroom, and then I'll wake for an hour, thinking about things, probably have a look at my phone, look at the thing, which is a bad thing, I'll always say. Yep. Back to sleep again. So it's like a 2-hour binge, awake for a couple of hours, another 2-hour binge. Like last night, I went for the first time, I got in bed last night about 8 o'clock because I wanted to watch the show. I haven't seen the show since it's been on. Yeah. Chilling out, and I didn't feel good because of this bronchitis thing I've got at the minute. And I was like watching TV, and I thought, I watched it, felt a bit tired. Then the next thing, it's 1 o'clock, and I'm still awake, flicking through nonsense on the TV and thinking about, right, what have I got to do next week? Then I'm asleep. Then I'm awake at 3 o'clock. Yeah. And then I was awake at 5 this morning. I thought, right, I wanted to go for a run. Yes. So I sat there beating myself up because I couldn't, because I knew it wasn't going to be a good thing. And then I just sort of chilling, doing bits and pieces, doing some paperwork stuff I had to do. So the sleep is not good for me.
None of that surprises me.
But then what happens with me is I'll get to a point where I feel like I hit the wall. Yep. And I'll bang out 6 hours, easy, 6-7 hours, and that's long for me. Yes. And I'm like, freaking hell, I felt like I slept for 3 days, and then I'm back to, I'm all right again, here we go again. It's I'll tell you what it is, it's the lifestyle. Yep. Our lifestyle from the military is binge. Yes. We binge everything. We binge drink. We don't drink for 3-4 months because you're an operational tour. You come back and then you drink like it's going out of fashion. Yeah. and you half kill yourself drinking. Then you get over that. Fitness has always been the constant thing, but that's binged as well, because on operations, you generally, if you're working so hard, you can't do it, but you will fit it in.
Yep.
And then you come home and I'll just go to the gym like a maniac. You know, like I'm fighting for a world title. I'll just fight, train, eat well, drink well, do that, and then that goes. Sleep's always been the one that's been in and out, not great. Lifestyle, you know, just time with family, everything's like rushing, and
yes,
and it's that binge, and I think that either makes you or breaks you. I think, you know, because I look at that lifestyle where I would say, and into the regiment, you live a life of travelling at 1,000 miles an hour. Yes. Your mind's active all the time, your body's active, you're doing, then you leave. And it's a bit like a car. If you've been racing a car and then all of a sudden you put it in the garage for 6 months, the next time you take it out, it ain't going to perform the same. And we're the same. That's why I try to keep myself busy, I do things and all this sort of stuff. I know I've gone off a bit of tangent there, but there was one thing, back to what the question was, is it sleep? No, I've always, I don't feel grumpy about feeling tired. I just feel tired and go, so what?
Well, that is both a blessing and a curse, probably. Yeah. So when we look at your sleep, we've got this score of 53 out of 100.
Okay.
And
which is better than I thought, if I'm honest.
And it's not bad. And maybe because you've been a bit unwell, sleep has gone up in terms of the priority list. You know, there's what you're describing there is very much what we're seeing from the data point of view.
Right.
Which is, on these graphs, what we've got is the physiology of you over 24 hours.
Yeah.
And where we see red on the graph, that's when your body's ready for stress. When we see blue on the graph, that's you physically active. And when we see green, that's you in physiological recovery. And if we think of you like a battery, red is when you're giving out energy, green is when you're recharging. And you know, whatever it was about putting on this monitor, first day we put it on, you were absolutely zen. You were calm. I'm going to come to stress in a minute. But you'll see when you fell asleep here, the actual duration of your sleep and how much time you spent in recovery was pretty good. And your sleep score there was 83%, which was That's great. Awesome. But the nights all carry some degree of consistency in the fact that they're not quite long enough.
Yeah.
So we generally have this recommendation of 7 to 9 hours. And again, you'll know from your military experience that these are general rules and you've built your own rules within them. But you're short of that on most nights. This night, again, it was something like, how many hours did you get? So that was 7 hours, but you only spend 4 hours 20 of that actually recovering. And if you look at these sleep patterns, what you'll see is these consistent red patches, which is either you waking up or even if you're asleep, your body is still slightly alert. And that would be extremely common for when we look at that in maybe new parents listening for a child or sleeping in a strange environment where you're listening for the door. And I think, you know, when we look at what you did in your military career, you almost ask, how could you ever
switch off,
properly go to sleep? And is that something that sort of carried on from those days, that you feel like you're sleeping with one eye on the world?
Yeah, you're always, it's a little sound or something don't feel right, I'm awake.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that I'm worried about it, but I'm just alert of it. I'm just, you know, conscious that something don't feel right or something needs a bit of attention, if you like.
Spot on. And I think, you know, if I was Brad or Angelina and you're my bodyguard, that's what I want.
Yeah, you're right. The lifestyle of being in the regiment, it was like that. You've always got to be on your guard.
Yeah.
And it's just constant and carried on, I guess.
So when you know, ultimately as a machine, you must find then other ways of making that back. Did you ever use anything like naps, or how might you? You know what? Honestly, if you didn't sleep well, how would you get that energy back?
Naps now is something that I've started doing over the last sort of 5 or 6 months when we're in the States. Yeah. Up early, train. I train very early because it's so bloody hot there. I'm training at 5 normally, you know, and I'll five till about 7, and then round about sort of 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just have an half an hour, just chill out, lie on the sofa, put the TV on, fall asleep, and then wake up and go again.
Amazing.
So that started about 6 months ago, but I haven't done it since I've been back to the UK.
So that Florida lifestyle, we're definitely keen to have that reintroduced. That's a really good technique, and there's great science to that as well. Yeah. And I suppose the challenge, when I say it's a blessing and a curse, is that you have this grit, this ability to just get it done, that then means you're sort of ignoring feedback, and that feedback is fatigue. Right, so if you're tired, you're sort of going, Billy,
fight through it.
Yeah. And occasionally your body will say, you know, the repercussion of that might be a challenged immune system. Now, you don't get ill that often, which is great, but that's something to keep an eye on. That if you don't restore enough energy, that's the energy that powers your immune system.
Yeah.
and suddenly it's a chest infection here, or it's another thing there. So if you're not sleeping well, if you've had any techniques that you've used that almost override that hypervigilance, I'd call it.
No, not really.
You've just weathered it.
Just weathered it, and just whatever the solution seems to be at that time is what I'll do.
Yeah.
Sit down and watch a bit of TV or walk with the dog. My relaxing is just being outside with the dog, just a little steady walk or whatever with the missus, And I just feel relaxed. I feel calm. Listening to nature, being around something peaceful.
Yeah.
No noise, not sucking in carbon monoxide off the street and all that nonsense.
Yes.
And that is my recharging time, my decompression and recharging.
Amazing.
Out walking through the little tracks in the woods and just feeling, wow, this is cool. This is nice.
And I think, what we often find is when people aren't necessarily as strong in sleep, they've got other ways of restoring energy.
That's probably it for me.
Yeah, I would say, without a doubt, your fitness has been the backbone of you.
Yeah.
In terms of, you can get away with less sleep if you've got a higher level of fitness and a higher level of physical activity. What you're describing there is what we the scientists call biophilia, which is when we're in nature, it restores energy and calms us in a way that's...
Because it's through the mind.
Yeah.
Everything's through the mind. Totally. If your mind relaxes, your body relaxes. If you tell yourself, it's like when you're in a situation of fear and you're looking at a problem and you're thinking, how am I going to get out of this? If you keep talking about it and thinking about it, your body goes into turmoil and your mind does.
Yeah.
Just relax and go, okay, we're here, accept it. What am I going to do about it? Let's do something.
Well, that control of the mind. I want to come to that as well with stress. Okay. Just sticking on sleep, again, I didn't record here whether you had any alcohol on any of these nights.
No. Okay. Not at all.
Because that's similar to a pattern you get when you have a glass or two of booze.
I think I told you the weekend before that was it was a big military reunion for us.
Yes.
And I went back to being 18 years old. And I mean, literally from getting up. But I actually went for a run out there, even with an hangover.
Incredible.
And it was a good run as well. I beasted myself.
I wouldn't advise that for anyone.
It's that guilt feeling with me. If I drink and I feel really bad inside, bad outside.
Yes.
So and the blokes went, how the fuck did you do that? I had to do it. So I got up and ran, and I beasted myself. And then I felt justified to get hammered for the rest of another 2 days. So that's what it is. I'm coming down off that because I know I haven't drank at that level for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And the recovery after it, as we get older,
that's the
I get drunk for a day, it's 2 days recovery. I got drunk for 3 days, so I'm on a 6-day recovery. And then the immune system's been had a bit of a battering. That's why I've got this chest infection. I don't get infections normally or any issues. I don't take tablets. I don't do any of that nonsense. I run it off.
Yes.
I sweat it out, and it works for me.
That's so interesting. And actually, that relationship, we might see a bit of that in these results. We might see the results of a 3-day bender through these results. Without a doubt, what you get on those 3 days of boozing is you kill sleep recovery, and then the bug that you wouldn't normally get gets got.
Kicks in.
Yeah. And then we're seeing a little bit of that as well. So a lot of people don't know that relationship. And that's how alcohol is one of the many ways it challenges us.
Yeah.
But then you offset that against the social bond and the reconnection. So, we're not going to sit here and go, that was bad for you.
Yeah, and I'll never give it up.
Well,
but I do like the pub atmosphere, the social side of it, but control it.
I think that's to be celebrated. The science shows alcohol's not good for you, but it doesn't reflect the social connection. It doesn't reflect, some of the relationships are forged around it. So I think again here it's potentially playing a role, and we're seeing a bit of a ripple effect from it.
Yeah.
But that relationship with it as an energized social component, not as a daily part of your routine, is absolutely spot on. So to fix sleep, what's interesting here is if I was trying to improve this, I'd be interested in why you don't go into any kind of recovery in the last hour and a half before you go to sleep. And is that an area that you feel particularly unwound in? Have you got rituals and habits in that last hour,
I've probably
90
got to
minutes?
bed thinking about what have I not achieved.
That's interesting. Always in your head,
what
never
have I missed
write
out?
that down?
What has now been, and I do actually, I go, right, I have to get this done by tomorrow morning. I have to get it, I've got to attack that first thing after I've done my fitness in the morning.
Yeah.
When I get up and start the day, I have to, so I'm thinking about something that I haven't achieved and want to achieve, I guess. So that's kind of
powerful
in my head going.
Would you ever take that from your head to written paper?
I do. I scribble everything down.
You do scribble it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got a little black notebook that I put it in there and go, and then because I know as soon as I flip the page, I've got to do it.
Yep.
That's what I must do.
Yep.
A lot of people are on the phones or something, or just remember. I don't. I write it down.
Love that.
I must attack 10 things because it makes me feel good when I tick things off.
Yes.
As simple as answering phone calls, doing this, doing that, or getting someone physically moving something, or doing something. I've got to do it.
Spot on.
And I'll go to bed that night going, shall I do it now? No, I will do it tomorrow morning. I guess that's what that period is there.
So that's good. So
thinking about it.
So what is bad then in that last window? Do you have a hard stop on tech? Are you box setting it? Are you disconnecting from TV, internet, phone? Are you able to switch that part of your life off?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I am. But I mean, I guess like everybody else, you become routine and lazy and slave to that bloody phone.
Yes.
I've started trying to leave it out the room. I get scared of leaving it out the room in case it's that inevitable call in the night. Something's happened. I don't know why. I'm always aware.
That's interesting.
What
would that be, though?
Somebody's been hurt, your father died, like I've had.
Okay.
Middle of the night, I'm like, this ain't going to be a good call. I know that.
Yes.
Bang, and rightly so. Father's died. This has happened. That's happened.
Yes.
So I think that's always in my mind. Subconsciously, I've always worried about something that I don't want to miss. Somebody might need me, and if I don't answer that call, I'll feel guilt for the rest of my life.
See, that's the bit to challenge, though, isn't it? Because in a logical world, that's non-operational now.
Yeah.
Will you be solving that problem between the hours of 3 a.m. and 6 a.m.? And we get this a lot with people who've had either 24-hour global roles or, again, waiting for that piece of bad news. But that, and I say that because that's what you look like. You look like you're waiting for that phone call, and you've got to work out how often that phone call is actually going to come.
Yeah, once in a blue moon, and hopefully never. But I mean, it does. It's just the fact that I know it could come.
Yeah.
And it bothers me. It's in my mind.
Yes.
But the thing is, and the other thing, so, while I'm thinking about everything, I'm flicking through the TV. I haven't got a clue what I'm actually watching.
Yes.
I'm looking at it, but it's not registering because I'm thinking about other things.
Yes.
And I've always been like that as well. Even when I'm reading a book, I'll read a book, get into it, and then I'm like, I've just read 10 pages. I've not got a clue what I've just read.
Yeah.
Because I've been thinking about other things.
Yes.
And I think that's a consolidated piece at the end of the night, maybe, before I'm going to bed, where I'm thinking...
Yeah.
And then, the tech thing, like I say, having the phone, the accessibility to the phone is a bad thing. I know that.
And that's, this, we can see, this is a highly functional pattern. Let's remember your energy is 90 out of 100 as self-reported. We're not going to create a problem that doesn't exist. But the reality is, if you wanted more energy, the area to focus on is how can you convince your brain that it isn't operational in sleeping hours and be in the moment rather than be in the future moment. If we want at the end of this to think about an action that takes you from 90 to 95, a disconnect with your phone would be one
part of it,
and there may be others when we come to stress, which is what we'll talk about next. But I think that you're coping well with that volume of sleep.
Yeah.
You've built patterns of behaviour around it for 59 years.
Yeah.
It's the sum of someone who's always switched on and waiting and watching. If we can get you a little less switched on when you're asleep, you're never going to necessarily change that into your daylight hours. That would be a win. When I said to you, our third area we're going to talk about is stress. And, when we first caught up on this, can you remember what you said to me?
I thrive in stress.
Yeah.
I really do. My stress is not what shit's happening now, you got to deal with it. That to me is fantastic.
Yeah.
If I have time to think and plan, that's my stress.
Yes.
Because you start adding things to the mix that you don't even need in it.
Yes.
The best example I could give you of that is the military, right? Operational job will come in. If it's immediate, bang, I'll find the answers. Boom, 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 let's go. Boom. And I'm enjoying it.
Yes.
And I'm thinking fast and bang, I've got it. Operations coming in, a week of planning. Oh, what if? And I'm adding, and that, it bores the shit out of me and adds the stress of thinking unnecessarily things that I don't need to be.
Yes.
Because what I've found in operational planning for me, and when things are really going down, and I'm talking about big shit.
Yes.
As soon as I think of, here's a situation, terrorists are going to attack, how do I deal with it? Bang, I've got the answer.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you've got 5 days to think about it. 5 days of unnecessary talking and thinking and planning. And you know what? It'll always come back to that first thing I thought.
Yes.
And all I've done is bolt a few other things on the edge. So the stress of having been hit with a decision to make now and deal with it something, I love it.
So if we think back to you in different guises, so in operational, I would suppose let's compare operational Billy. So you're in a situation where there is an active threat to an individual or a nation. You're part of the team, either planning or executing that. And let's think to you now, 59 years old, managing international relationships, TV career.
Yeah.
What's the big difference between stresses of when you're in the military and the stress you encounter now?
I think obviously, the stresses you've got there, you're talking about dealing with people's lives generally.
Yes.
So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But as long as you don't dwell too long in that, it's still it's a decision I'm going to make, whether it's life or death or not. I still have the same principles, same feeling now. It's not life or death, but it's stuff I want to get done. It's got to be done, and I want to do it now. I want to get it sorted. So I've still got the same sort of vein of thinking and method of dealing with it, if that makes sense.
It does. And when you're in the acute stress, if I think of an actual, operational setting, how do you stay calm in those situations? I want to use one potential example. Well, you mentioned breathing earlier, and I love the fact you're saying it there. Yeah. Because if I go to any breath work class or any well-being lecture, they'll be like, let me teach you a technique we're taught in the SAS. And like the person at the front.
Breathing.
Box breathing. Were you taught that?
No.
Or no, interesting. No. So you're shaking your head. So what's your relationship with breath, and where did you learn that?
Just naturally. When you're scared, you go into a panic.
Yes.
But somehow, I've learned over the years, just, okay, it's not good, but I'm here. Just calm down, breathe.
You just built that.
I don't go through a technique of holding the breath. I just stop. Just think, all right, this is what's happening. Deal with it now. Calm down. And in my head, I'm saying calm down and just relax myself.
Interesting.
And that's exactly what I do. Then just relax your breathing and look at the situation. And more I can sort of give a clearer picture of what I'm really trying to say and think is when, whatever the situation is, however bad it is, you know what, there's always an option.
Yes.
There's always an answer to it. It might not be an easy one, it might not be the best one.
Yes.
But there's an answer to it.
But to make that answer, you have to be calm.
You have to stay calm.
And do you think that's something you just naturally... Is there some natural selections? And for those who don't know box breathing, just for example, it's a technique where you slow your breath, you breathe out for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds. That's the idea of drawing this imaginary box. Yeah. And it's a really robust technique. But do you think, for getting techniques like that, do you think you were in those positions because you could stay calm naturally? Or was it a skill that you developed?
I think it's more of a natural thing, I think, for me.
Yeah.
I've always been able to deal with it and get on with it. I mean, a wild example I'll give you is, we're in a situation, we're pinned down.
Yeah.
I'm behind a rock. It's a big rock at the time, probably the size of that chair. I'm getting shot at. The rest of the boys are in the ditch as well. And I'm like, and everybody's looking at me going, and I'm internally, it's a duck syndrome, I call it. I'm gliding across. Everybody's looking, going, fucking hell, Billy looks a bit calm about this. He's in a good place. I actually ain't, really.
Yes.
Inside, my feet are kicking like a duck floating. If you look under the water, it's kicking like a fucker.
Yeah.
So internally, I'm going, fucking hell, how am I going to deal with this? But I know they're looking at me and I'm thinking about myself. I'm going, all right, we can fix this. So what do? I start making a cup of tea behind a rock. This is real. And they're looking at me.
So you're under enemy fire.
Yeah. And they're looking at me and because I'm trying to make a plan. And the way to make a plan is take my mind away from this horrendous... I'm aware of what I'm in.
Yes.
But the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm getting wound up. I can't see anything straight. I'm in this situation. Okay, I'm safe at the moment.
Yes.
And I ain't going to be for long, so I've got to think pretty quick.
Yes.
Distract myself and make a plan. So I'm making a tea. So I'm now thinking, I don't want to spill the water. I don't want to burn myself. And then I'm looking, I'm going, okay, I could probably go left. I could maybe go right. That doesn't look good. That's not great. Okay. And they're all looking at me, thinking, fucking hell, he's calm about this. Yes. He must have a good plan. I had a plan, because there's always a plan, like I said.
Yes.
It wasn't an easy plan. I goes, right, this is what we're going to do. And I won't go into the tactical sides what I do. But what we did, I went, this is what we're going to do. And they're all going, well, if he's saying it, he's calm as he is, we're going to do it. And we did.
That is beautiful.
And we're all here today. So back to the point, it's when a situation in front of you is developing, instead of staring on and thinking too much into it, got it. You've got the bare minute, something's about to happen, something has happened, the house is on fire, right, you've got a couple of seconds to go.
Yeah.
You've got to react pretty quick, but okay, got it. What am I going to do about it?
That's brilliant.
I've got to do something. And as soon as you start, it's reassurance. You're reassuring yourself.
Yeah.
And bang. And I've seen situations where people are on a battlefield they're in a bad, and I can see they're in a bad way. And they're looking at you, staring, thinking, I'm fucking dying.
Yeah.
And as soon as you walk out, stop whinging. Get on with it.
Yeah.
You just see the colour come back to the skin.
Feeding on
they
your
are in
energy.
a bad way, but they're thinking, oh, maybe I can calm down.
Yeah.
So it's calming them down and reassuring. In my head, I'm going, this ain't a good situation, but I've got a better chance of saving this person if he calms down.
That is ultimately, a great depiction of you in combat situations.
Yeah.
When we look at your stress in the modern world, we've got to think about it in a slightly different way. So your score is 46 on this one.
So that's bad, isn't it?
Well, you again, you thrive on stress and then you don't feel stressed.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, but the score of 46 out of 100 is because you don't spend that much time recovering.
Right.
So here's one of the great sort of misconceptions. That stress and your ability to deal with situations that would overwhelm me was built from all that grit, an inherent ability to stay calm when others weren't staying calm. Yeah, the tea making is phenomenal. Yeah. I think there'll be a lot of tea drinkers who are over the moon, but that is a genuine combat strategy.
It was actually a good cup of tea. Yeah. I didn't actually get a chance to drink it all because the rock was getting smaller. But I've got to move now.
So that situation of stress management would have led you to your successful military career.
Yeah.
Now we face a different scenario. You outside of the military environment, have you got the right amount of each day spent not thinking that there may be a firefight incoming? And when we look at your data, albeit we've got a 3-day window, you spend quite a lot of your time over each 24 hours ready for threat.
Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that. I don't ever feel stress.
But when do you ever feel truly switched off?
Probably when I'm asleep, in the little time that I'm asleep.
But even then, but that's interesting.
But I didn't
right?
know. I ain't. But to me, that is. When do I feel switched? Walking in the woods, when I'm out in nature, when I'm with my dog.
Yes.
And he's making me laugh because he's got one job and that's to make me smile, and he does it a lot because he's useless as a dog. So I guess when I'm around something that I really enjoy, I love.
Yes.
And I feel safe then.
Love it.
Maybe that's what it is, and that is out in the woods, next to the river, with the dog, with the missus, or just on my own.
Yeah.
I just feel relaxed. I don't feel threatened. I don't feel not that I'm head turning everywhere I go. Maybe it is because my missus says you don't miss a beat. You've always got your eyes on somebody, and I read a situation, and go, okay, that don't look right. Okay, avoid or do whatever you're going to do.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm subconsciously doing that. I don't realise I'm doing it, but probably my sort of counteract to being stressful is when I'm in nature, when I feel comfortable and I feel relaxed and I really listen to the noise, smelling the fresh air. I think that's it.
And you are the poster boy for the benefit of being in nature, being disconnected, the role of companionship, and as much as you're jesting about the dog, there's a huge benefit.
I think it's that knowing what's important to you in life, and you don't realise that till you get older.
Yes.
We're all chasing something, chasing the girls, fucking chasing looking great, chasing having some money in the bank, having the best car, having this. I don't think I've ever been that driven that way anyway, wildly, I guess to a degree. And I remember my biggest change as I was getting older was, we were canoeing down the Rio Grande one time when I was bodyguarding and we had a day off, the one fucking day off we did have. And I'm canoeing with this guy, these film crew.
Yeah.
Because I was Angie's bodyguard at the time, so they want to be out and chat and all that. So we're going down the river, and there's girls coming past us on dinghies, bikinis on, good-looking chicks, and they're all, and I'm like, stop. So we stop on this riverbank, and I'm like, man, look at that. You know what that is? And he went, what? I went, that's a cathedral tree. And I stopped and I went, wow. And I remember the guy I'm with, he goes, mate, you're getting old. I went, why? He goes, there's chicks all around us, and all you want to talk about is trees. And I went, you know why? Because that's important to us. That's what life really is about. That's
love that.
This is all material and mini bites of excitement. That's life, man.
That's meaningful. What a brilliant thing!
True.
I'll be googling a cathedral tree instantly,
mate. And if you get a chance to ever go into the tropics and the jungle, when I talk about being in nature, I think that's what it flicks back to, and actually it does. And it's weird. It's just coming to my head. So this new house I've got, it's quite up on the hill, and of a morning the mist is above the trees. You just see the tips of the trees, and then over the hours it goes down. And my mate came up the other day because he's helped me move some stuff. It was while I was doing this monitoring.
Yes.
And that's why I couldn't do much fitness, because I was with him as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sat there, and we just sat there having a brew. It was like 6 a.m, sat on the bench and looking. He goes, mate, this is like being back in the jungle. And I went, you know what? It is. And that's what it was. And I felt, this is cool.
And that is putting, a fish into water. That is your natural habitat. And I think when we look at this result, it could be a combination of being stuck in an urban environment with someone else's pattern with a bit of bronchitis. I think what you're drawing there is where your energy comes from. And it's from being disconnected in nature and
from noise.
From noise. And that noise is a continual stress. People don't realise that.
Yeah.
So lots of people go for their walk and they stick a headset in. Yeah. Listen, we're on a podcast, so I'm all for that, by the way, listeners. But the reality is sometimes you do need to disconnect.
I'm not just talking about that direct noise, as in I'm talking about unnecessary. What's important?
Love that.
What is important?
The I'll tell you
what's important is your health.
Yeah. People
you trust and love around you, and what makes you smile.
Yes.
That's all that's important.
Yeah.
Not how much you got in the bank, not the fact you've got this, you got that. That's stress.
Yes.
Trying to keep up with the neighbours and forget that nonsense. No one cares.
Really.
What is really important to you is the fact that you can get out, do something, and being out in nature is free to everybody.
Yeah.
And it shocks me the amount of people that don't use it.
Yeah.
Don't get amongst it. They're too busy getting the new labels on this. That's not cool.
Absolutely brilliant. And I think, again, that's a lesson that others can draw, and that will be why you're scoring 90 out of 100. Yeah. And the days I'm capturing are maybe lagging a little bit behind that. Fundamentally, we've got someone who fitness has always been a part of your DNA. It's enabled you to do extraordinary things, and it's still there.
Yeah, it's my stabiliser.
It's your stabiliser.
It makes it. I'm moody. I am moody if I don't train.
Yeah,
I feel guilty about whatever, if I'm eating or drinking or not. I think I don't deserve to have this. I shouldn't have this. I haven't done my groundwork.
That's a lesson that, again, I hope people pick up. This is a habit. What you've got above and beyond that, that habit is ingrained. What I think is interesting is what you can achieve shows how much of fitness is psychological as well as physiological. Physiological fitness is very good, but when you add your psychology to it, it's you can do whatever you want to do.
And one's not good without the other.
Exactly.
You've got to have a stronger mind than a body, I think.
Yeah. And again, you've got a fantastically strong body from what we see here, but the mind on top of it makes that incredible. We see from a stress point of view, you can handle the acute stress. You built your legacy out of that. But in the new world, the role of nature, disconnection is the thing that keeps you together. From a sleep and stress point of view, the one challenge we're probably seeing here is a lack of consistency around disconnecting outside of that nature environment and seeing whether we can depart from the phone.
That's address.
That's one. I
think I know that. I'm glad you said it, but watch.
Good.
We'll do this again. Let's see what I change.
I've no doubt. And again, without the chest infection, without the phone in the bedroom, doubling down on the nature, keeping the routines together. 59, your results are only going to keep as they are or get better.
Yeah.
From my point of view, Billy, you're a living example of high energy. And again, these habits that people think are opt-in, you're really laying a very clear foundation. These are the foundations of why you are scoring so well and defying aging and achieving great things. So I've thoroughly enjoyed having the chance to talk to you about that.
And likewise,
today.
mate, I've learned a lot about myself, where I put myself. But it's just, it's the mindset. You just, and the one thing I'll always, it's time.
Yeah.
I know people are, but time is all we've got. It's the most valuable thing we've got. And you don't know if you're going to have dinner tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. Don't waste time being stressed and miserable. And I say this to my kids, don't argue, don't fall out.
Yeah.
Just agree to disagree. Or just take it on the chin. I know when I've been right and I've been told I'm wrong. Well, every day with the wife, that is. I just go, okay, fine, I'm wrong. But I actually know it doesn't matter. It ain't going to change the world. You ain't stopping the world spinning. Grab what you can and enjoy it. But the key things is your health, surrounded by people you trust and love, and just getting out in nature solves everything.
That, for me, is the energy equation. Well, it's been a joy to have you today, Billy. Thanks so much, my friend.
I really enjoyed it.
Really good.